Hey people, everybody's biggest question about the Bible is what happened in the Garden of Eden. What was the sin and what was the fruit? I got an email about this the other day as I was reading Genesis 2, and I've made a couple movies and I posted them on my other channel. It's called Jesus Christ, and I don't have any type of religion. I use that because Christians won't tell me to go to hell if I comment. They'd lock my channel down for a week, so I'll get these movies on my main channel when it's back up. So I finished reading 2 last night, and I went on to 3 in the Greek here, and I want to hit a couple of these words here before I read any of this. You know, the Ophis, O-Q-I-S, and if you look at the phonetic spelling, that's it, of is. The of is. And you see it's O-Q-I-S here. And they put it in the same category as EOS, those, and just the plain O to C. Sometimes they'll say that just the O is the serpent. You know, the O is the I into C. And you see in the New Testament the different spellings that they give it. O-Q-I-N, of in. And of this, E-I-S, of this, of theon. And they say perhaps named from its site of Dracon. You know, that's the big serpent at the North Pole that the procession of equinox works around at the beginning. And C. Curtis is under the world of Thalamus, and that's the third word we're going to hit on right here. They say that means the eye, you know, the ophthalmos. They say that's where it comes from, but we're going to straighten that word out. But you know, if you think of a poet, you know, starting a poem, he might write, "Oh, thee of this on Chronimotatos, the most skilled." Chronimotatos. You might think of they say this is pronounced as a FR, phroney. You know, the phronimos, the most phony, the phronimos. And it's where your word friend comes from. And so it could mean the friendliest. And they say it means more shrewd, prudent, sensible, wise man. Wise man might be really friendly. You know, there ain't no sense in pissing everybody off. You know, this word phroneo, they'll give it an F here, PH, the friend, and they say it means mind, the phroneo, wise and prudent. You know, the chronimos is sensible, wise, but also well behaved, which could fit in with the friendliest. And if you just pull those words, you know, right off of there and paste them and start backspacing and check for meanings, you can better pinpoint meanings. And to speed this up, just hit your Google translate to English, and it'll stay dark. You know, crony, they say it means feels here, considers, crony. You know, if you break it down to just the QRON, you know, it's a stem found in adjectives relating to the mind. You know, the mind is more of a crown than a friend. But a crony comes from a word from a close friend or companion. And then this motatos, you know, it's hard to find, but if you just start removing them from the other end, you know the MO, when it's on the end of a word, it means that which is from tatos, you know, tatos. And so we can see that it translates here pretty much just meaning the EST. You know, a delos is clear, and an adtatos, delatatos, is the clearest. And the sophos is wise, and adtatos, sophotatos, is the wisest. And you know, Hakuna Matata is a wonderful phrase, and they say it means no worries for the rest of your days. There are no worries. But Hakuna, the kun, the kun, and Matata, Ma, that which is the kunist, that which is the sneakiest. Hakuna Matata, Ma, that which is the kunist. And so they got your kids praying to gods and they don't even know what they're saying. So this could be the, Chronimo, that which is Chronimotatos, the friendliest or the wisest. And they might, fit the same, but, the of is on Chronimotatos is on the friendliest or is on the wisest. So there's much in these writings that make me think that it's more the friendliest. The Panton, pan is around and ton is fashion. The friendliest around fashion. The ton, the fashion, of Therion. And then this word for you should eat, the faggot. And it's used many different ways through here. And then the word for fruit. A carpo is a wrist. Carpo is fruit. But, in medicine, the carpo or the carpus is the wrist. Carpo. Carpos. In Greek, the wrist. And so, that's another word we use. Is somebody with a limp wrist, we call them a fruit or a faggot. And they're always the friendliest. The old Chronimotatos. And so after reading all through this, I'm pretty sure this is who they talking about, the old Chronimotatos. He's hip on the fashion and the colors, and he was the one with the knowledge. He was the wisest. And you see this word for eat, many different ways, but it also always has the fag in there, QAG, of fagest, to digest or fagest. And fag is a word for a cigarette in Britain. It's something you suck, you smoke, fagest. And so so the food that they're eating, the fruit, is not something that you eat, something that you smoke. And then when it gets down here, to will be open wide your eyes. The word for eyes is ophthalmoi. And nobody ever really thought about this. But it's, the O is to see, and the Q was ancient symbol that meant center worldwide. To see the center, thalamoi. And this word, you'll find it in a lot of ancient books, the most ancient books, because it was written in Homer. And Homer called it a chamber or a bed chamber. But this is where your thalamus come from the Latin thalamus, from the Greek thalamos, an inner chamber or bedroom. In botany, a receptacle of a flower or a torus. Latin, it come from the ancient Greek thalamos, inner room, especially from Homer, in the writings of Homer, the commander. Homer, that's the word for and he said all through the Bible, all through the Hebrew. In the marriage bed, the bedroom chamber, thalami, thalamo, thalami. And this is your thalamus, and it's your to see the middle eye, the eye that's in the middle of your head. A large mass of gray matter located in the dorsal part. It forms during embryonic development as the main product of the diencephalon, as first recognized by the Swiss embryologists in 1893. But we're going to find out in these writings that they knowed all this way before. They'll tell us that this first Greek Bible was written to the 3rd to the 1st centuries BC. But what this does, it takes in all the signals. It takes in everything you smell and see and hear and taste and touch. All the electric signals that are sent to the brain, they first go through the thalamus, and then it tells your brain what you're seeing. That's why when you're in a pitch dark and you close your eyes and dream, you have totally lit visions, because that's all created in your brain. Everything you perceive reality is created in your brain. But they'll tell you here that it was the 2nd century AD when Galen traced the optic nerve fibers to an oval mass closely associated with the ventricle. But that doesn't fit the story of the Septuagint that was written in the 3rd to the 1st century BC, where they were already using this word for the eye, which was supposed to mean the bedroom chamber. And if we click on this number above this word, we'll see just like that word for the serpent is pronounced of Thalamus. Of the Thalamus. And your eyes will be, and will be open wide, you're of Thalamo. And you will be as gods. And you will be, this is like exist, E-S-E-S-T, to exist as thou, as gods. And so you can't get the whole story out of this. It's missing too much punctuation under here, and the words have been changed a little bit. You have to get it out of this other Bible, this sweet Septuagint, and it'll show you this other punctuation, this iota that goes underneath the omega, and I think the A and the H is the only places they'll use it. And when you read with this, it's telling you where to read backwards, the same as the Hebrew, and that's what was the wisest. And it's talking about to the hyphen C of is, and then with this mark here you read it THT, that, and he's letting them know that the one that knew how to read the Hebrew, the one that knew what the punctuation in the Hebrew, what the hyphen meant in the Hebrew, and it's replacing it with this little mark here. And you see when it's here, it's the TOT, toot. But he's talking about, the wisest and the friendliest, and how they decoded the recipe. You see it here in the posh. In other Bibles, end with an N, the potion. They decoded the recipe, the potion carriers, the ones that carry it. And how they tuned the potion to get it right, and how they opened the eye, and then how they were checking to see if they could get a patent on it. And then they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in, and this phones carry of to thee of peri around the patent as. And then after this it's talking about how they're going to destroy the seed of the sailors who brought the information in, and the carriers and the dealers, and met, and with them of auth, the right, author is a writer, and so auth is a right, with them of right, may the duke in away to Zulo to cross, to the Phagon, put him on the cross. And so they were stringing up everybody that had this information, and everybody was selling this information, because what it does is once you see, once you crack open that third eye, to see the center eye, the thalamoi, and to exist as gods, and once you see this, you no longer make a good slave. And so they had to destroy all this information. So that's why they burnt all the ancient libraries, and we're totally lost to our history. And this is what they're trying to hide, everything in Genesis 3. And I'll read a bunch of this. I just wanted to make a short to see if I could lead people to this new channel, because I have over 200 movies on other channel, and they can just go through at any time and start hitting them and shut that channel down. So I'm gonna cut this off here with the ode of is on the Chronimotatos, the most skilled and the most fashionable, the pant-on fashion. All right, good day.